In collaboration with Cal Matters, we've been investigating wage theft in California. Employers essentially stealing money from their workers. Well, now we've learned even after workers win wage theft judgments against their boss, many still don't get paid. Tonight, we're examining a local program that may have a statewide solution.
Growing up in his Mexican hometown, Antonio Dominguez says there were few paved roads, let alone fancy cars. So he says washing cars for a living was sort of a dream realized when he moved to the States. That is, until the car wash he worked at changed ownership. In 2019, the Labor Commissioner's Office found the Playa Vista Car Wash failed to properly pay Antonio and 63 others. The state very publicly issued its largest ever wage theft fine against a car wash business. But Playa Vista appealed and is now negotiating a settlement. 3 years later, the workers are still waiting for the money the state says they earned.
Have a good day.
And they're not alone. In addition to large-scale enforcement action by the Labor Commissioner's Office, Californians file tens of thousands of individual wage theft claims a year, ranging from stolen tips to minimum wage and overtime violations, mostly impacting low-wage workers, women, immigrants, and people of color.
Muy difícil. Very hard.
For people like Eloisa, a fast food worker just beginning her individual wage claim process, the average judgment of $20,000 could be life-changing. That is, if she can ever collect.
Frustrante.
The problem, while state law requires claimants get a hearing and a decision in their case in under 135 days, a Cal Matters data analysis finds it actually takes closer to 500 days, and there are many cases still pending, meaning the Labor Commissioner's Office is violating state law. But maybe worse, the data shows 5 years after winning those judgments, only about 1 out of 7 people were actually paid in full. But in contrast, you guys basically have 100% compliance.
That's correct.
Now a pilot program in Santa Clara County may offer a statewide solution.
So essentially, you say pay up or lose your food permit.
That's eventually what happens, yes.
Program manager Jesse Yu explains the Santa Clara County Office of Labor Enforcement began searching the state's list of unpaid wage theft judgments for businesses that sell food in their county, ranging from markets to bakeries to catering companies. Then they threatened to shut them down with one of these until employers paid their outstanding wage theft judgments.
You know, I think some people might wonder, what does wage theft have to do with a food permit?
All food permit holders are required to abide by all local, state, and federal laws and regulations.
And so if they don't pay their workers, they're violating state law.
That's correct.
And while their program is limited to food permits, Yu notes it could theoretically be expanded to any business with a required license or permit.
What might be some of the limitations for other counties to take this on?
I think resources and support.
While San Francisco has a similar program and San Diego is now considering one, not every county has an Office of Labor Enforcement or the money to staff this type of program. Another limitation? By the time the state finally issues a judgment and the county reaches out, some businesses have already shut down or changed ownership.
Santa Clara County is just relaunching its pilot program, which they had to pause amid the pandemic shortly after a successful start. But they say 8 out of the 8 businesses they threatened with one of these either set up a payment plan or paid workers in full within 30 days. Compare that to the Department of Labor's compliance rate. Can we take what Santa Clara County is doing and broaden it statewide?
Absolutely.
But Assemblymember Ash Kalra, whose district is in Santa Clara County, says the state can't rely on counties alone and believes statewide legislation should expand enforcement to include pulling a variety of permits and licenses until all businesses pay their wage theft judgments.
We do have power over the ability of these businesses to operate in our state.
But he acknowledges new laws would require more resources and more money because the Labor Commissioner's Office can't keep up as it is. So for now, tens of thousands continue to wait for the state to enforce the many wage theft laws already on the books.
Now, the Labor Commissioner's Office has denied repeated interview requests over several months. But tomorrow, we sit down with the California Chamber of Commerce to talk about the possible solution from the business perspective. Julie Watts, KCAL 9 News.
And for a deeper dive